Hi, welcome back to ODE YouTube channel. Today we are here for another Friday night pen thoughts, and this is episode number 12. And now for the date, this time in Portuguese, as usual. It is Lisboa, 4 de junho de 2021. And so, again, welcome to the Friday night video. It has been a little bit hard to having the time to make all the videos that I've been making, and so again I will not promise that this video will be very long or very well structured. It will be what I can do, really, and I'm afraid next week or so I may not publish a lot. Maybe I will be away a little bit. I don't think I will be away from home, because it's not like we are in confinement anymore, but we still have to be very careful. And I have to say that I'm not vaccinated yet, so it could be risky to go somewhere, and I may be vaccinated in this month, I think, so it will be safer then. But now I think I will have a few days of work, but I will almost for sure stay here in Lisbon. Maybe I'll get to go for some walks or to do some stuff different, but I may stay a little bit more time away from the computer. So, as I'm trying to tell you, I'm not quitting pens, not at all, but I think I will need some days off, and so maybe I will not make many videos. Maybe I will try to publish some things that are scheduled. Maybe I'll try to make some unboxing videos if stuff comes, but don't really expect that kind of big activity from me. Another thing that I want to talk about is about the activity on YouTube, is that I always try to reply to comments on my videos. I always try to reply to emails that I receive, but sometimes I'm very, very busy with my work, and I have my family, and I have all that stuff. And that's something that I want to also use in these days off, is that I want to have more time for my family instead of being always here on the computer, and the computer is right there, and here I have this background, and I'm always making these videos. So I really am. Maybe I'll take a break of at least a little break from this. So, as I was telling you, I usually try to reply to every email, to every comment, but sometimes I just don't have the time to do it. And so today I'm trying to reply to older comments. Some of them are almost 2 months old, and sometimes it's quite difficult. I receive a notification for every comment that is posted. I read it. I read them usually on my phone whenever they are posted there, but it is much easier to keep track of them when I'm on the computer. So sometimes I have to take the time to do that, and it's not that easy. Sometimes I have to make a choice, or I make videos or I reply to comments. Sometimes it takes really a long time, and So please be patient about that. I always read the comments. I always try to answer. Sometimes it takes too long for that, but I will reply eventually. And another thing is, that's it. Sometimes it's quite difficult to take care of that other side of the channel. It's not. I don't have that much free time, and I have to use my free time. Most of my time is for work. I have to use free time that is for pens, for my kind of drawing activities, for my writing activities, for my photography activities, and to sleep, even though I sleep very, very little. So I just want to tell you that I will try to reply. Everything that you say is really important for me. I will read it, but please don't expect too much from me in the next week. That's what I want to tell you. Now, let's go back to the Friday night pen thoughts. And today, for this video, I'm using two pens. One is this very special thing that I showed you before, and I decided to ink it because this pen deserves. This is a very heavy pen made of solid copper. It is very beautiful, this kind of patina, very different looks in every places. And it's funny how that happens. I cleaned the pen, I polished it completely last year because I had to replace the nib, but I had to break the feed to take the nib out, and so there were some minor parts that were more scratched or more used and were shinier, so I decided to put all the pen apart, to take the pen apart, to polish it completely, and then I put it back inside a leather pouch, and it was there maybe for a week, and it went from perfect copper, shiny copper, I don't think there is any part of shiny copper anymore in this pen, more like this, and to this beautiful patina. So it is interesting because below the gold clip, you'll see that it has more the traditional and unoxidized copper color. Here it is a very dark brown with an almost green. It is very interesting. It looks like almost a fire blue pen. Those kind of heat treatments that they make in steel pens. Here it is very beautiful, this part where just the cap contacts with, it is protected from the air by the cap, but it got this patina, and here it is much more dull because it's the place where the fingers hold the pen, and inside it is oxidized too. So I really enjoy this pen. I really like it, and it is one of my favorite pens, as you already know. So let's talk about it. This is the Parker Senior Dual-Fold replica in copper by Chris Thompson, and inside, let me just grab the bottle. It has this stuff that I like a lot. This is a vintage bottle. It is coming apart, falling apart. It has Parker Quink Black. Now this pen has a fine gold nib with this arrow shape. It is a beautiful, beautiful pen. I love it, and it is very, very heavy, but as I told you, I love it. The other pen that I'm using during this video is this very beautiful material, and this is the Kaigaloo 356 in green. although this color is very strange because this is like a mix of green and blue. It's very hard to describe. It's very beautiful. It has that kangaroo nib with a baby. It is a steel nib, a fine steel nib, and inside it has diamine Inkvent calendar 2019. There will be an Inkvent calendar again this year, and I'm quite excited with that. And the color is, it's this little thing, blue peppermint. Although this Muji paper says it is non-bleed through, it really has some bleed through with this ink, and the nib is very wet. And this ink is ink that has some shimmer, but you can't really see it in this paper. It needs a coated paper to see it properly. And this was from the Inkvent calendar. I put this little sticker there. It was the ink for the first day of the Inkvent calendar. And so, let's go for our topics. Pens for today, you have them here. Now, let's talk about previous videos that I made. So, since last video of these Friday Night Pen Thoughts, I just made 2 videos, and they were one unboxing of this interesting pen. This is the Moonman M700 with stripes. It is an interesting pen. It has kind of a Parker dual fold shape, but it has some extra rings, and it is an interesting pen. That's what I have to say about it. And I also made one review. Actually, the review was made already. I just published it this week, and it was about this pen, the Kaweco, not Ice, sorry, Kaweco AL Sport in silver color. This is a beautiful pen, and now I'm quite happy because I have all the silver colored Kaweco pens except one. I have this one, I have the raw, which has unfinished aluminium, I have the steel, and I have one metallic, a plastic with a metallic kind of coating, and I would love to have the Sterling Sport, but the Sterling Sport would cost me 1,500 euros, which is a crazy price. But I would love if Kaweco ever sent me one for review and to keep it, but I don't think they will do it. It would be too expensive. Although maybe because of some of my videos, maybe I could be able to influence some people to buy one. Maybe, I'm not sure. Sorry, I was just here touching the camera. Now, let's talk about next videos, and we'll go back to the talk that I was having on this beginning of the video. So for next videos, I'm not really sure of what I will be able to do. I will not promise a lot, but I have some stuff that I want to make, and that would be the long video pens from May, the pens from for June, and I'll try, if I have the time, I will try to record this one today to publish tomorrow. I will try to do that. This one, I don't know, maybe in a week or so, then I will be able to do it. But I will not promise. Also, I have some the collection overview of terra or coral colored pens, and this pen may have a little bit of a baby's bottom because sometimes it skips, or maybe it is the shimmering ink. I have to try it with a different ink to check why that happens, but sometimes it happens, and it is a very wet and smooth pen. You can see it. It really bleeds through until the next page. Now, when I was talking about the coral or terra colored pens, I'm talking about pens of this kind of color. They are not really orange, they are not really red. And this is a collection overview that is recorded. I need to do some stuff. And I asked in last Friday night video if you wanted these or a versus video between the Mont Blanc 149 and the Sailor King of Pen, and you voted more on this one, so these will be first. So this video I will promise, the other ones I will try to do it. I will try to make some unboxing videos if new stuff comes, but I have to say that I have, how many? Maybe 1, 2, I'm not sure. I have a Kaigalu pen coming from China, and I'm not sure. I have one pen coming from India, but I think it will still take a lot of time to arrive to me. And I have 2 pens from Italy. There are 2 Aurora pens that I'm really excited to show you, but I need them to arrive. Actually, one of them I'm more curious even to get it and to look at it and to try to decide what exact Aurora pen that is. But I will try also to, obviously if I get it for me, it will be always also for you to see it, but I'm really excited and curious to watch it, to look at it, because I'm not sure if it is really a pen for itself, the regular model, it is a vintage Aurora pen, or if it is some kind of a Franken pen, but I just need it to arrive, and stuff are taking forever. So, unboxings may come, and if I am at home when the pens arrive, I will record the video and I will post it. So this one may come, and sometimes Monday are a good day for receiving pens. Let's see. Then we have also a few reviews that need to come. And I'm not promising anything because maybe stuff is too late again. And the reviews that will come soon, not sure when, are of this pen that I should have made this some time ago, because this pen is getting very popular. Not exactly this finish, but this is the Gravitas. Where is the logo? Where is it? It's on cap. There. This is the Gravitas, and it is the skull, the Gravitas in steel, and this is the skull edition. It has skulls and this kind of a gothic theme that is very beautiful. The pen is nice. It writes nicely. It is very nice, very well made. This is a pen from Ireland. I need to review it. I wanted to post this review already, to have posted it, but I didn't have the time for it. So I'll try to do it when it is possible. I don't know when. I also want to make the review of this pen. This is the Duchessa, and now the Italian part. Duchessa 1935 or 1935 Antiqua. And it is this pen that is made of a new resin. This is a new pen model, but using vintage parts as the vintage nib, the vintage clip, and the vintage lever. And it is a lever filler, and it is an interesting pen that I showed you before, but I really need to make this review. I didn't have the time yet, but I want to do it. even more because the owner of this company sent me the pen for review, so I need to do it. And there is another pen. This one I bought. This one was sent to me for review, and another one that I want to review soon because I think I am ready for it is this Santini. This is the Santini Libra, and I have to say it has a little bit of ink all over. Sometimes I'm not very careful when I'm talking with pens in my hands, and sometimes I move them around a little bit too much. This is the Santini Libra in olive, and it has the S in this proprietary Santini nib. It is a very nice gold nib with a piston filler pen. This one is from Italy. I will not clean the nib. It's kind of nice to see such a shiny nib with this beautiful brown ink that I didn't show it to you yet because I changed the ink this pen had inside. It originally had that ink that I like, the Mont Blanc Daniel Defoe, but I'm running out of ink. And I decided that maybe I should try the Roller and Cleaner Out Gold Cone because I thought it would match nicely the pen, but when I used it I found that it became too dry and not pleasant to use with that particular ink that I like in some other nibs and pens. So I changed it again, and now it has the KWZ Oscar, which is an exclusive ink for Fontoplumo, store in the Netherlands that sent me that particular brown ink, which is kind of beautiful. Let me just show you. It is this kind of dark brown that I like. It is interesting, it's a pen that is inspired in the color of the dog of the owner of the shop, which is interesting. Now, because I did that, let's use the Gravitas. It has a regular Jowo medium nib, also very nice wet line. This is the Mont Blanc William Shakespeare, the very beautiful red ink also, and this is the Duquesa. Beautiful pen. It has ink all over the nib also, and maybe some ink inside the cap there and there. I need to clean it a little bit because I don't want it to stain the yellow, but that's something that may happen when you use yellow ink, when you use dark inks in yellow pens. So I have to learn to live with that. I was just trying to align the lever with the clip. Now it is. This is Parker Queen Collect, the favorite of mine. So these are three nice pens that I want to review, and one of the videos that I want to do next to the end of this month is my top pens for the first half of 2021, and that will be hard. I'm sure that will be hard because I think all these three pens will have a place there. Let's see, how can I choose? Now, the next topic will be pens I recently received. And let me just show you the nib on this Parker Dufold. It's not a flexi nib, but you can see some line variation in this nib, which is amazing. This nib is beautiful. But okay, I was not talking about this pen now. I want to talk to you about the pens that I received. And the pens that I received since last video were two. One was this Moonman M700 from China that I inked it, and it's not been used for several days. So now let's see if it writes. This is it writes. The Moonman, I think it has Schiffer script blue. I have it turquoise. I have it written somewhere, but I'm not sure. Moonman M700 stripes. It's not with a Y. and it has a bock nib that is dry on the upstrokes but quite wet on the downstrokes. So I'm not 100% sure if I love this pen. And the other pen that I received during this month was not received, but the second pen that I got was this one. And now, let's take this out of the way and let's take a look at this one. This pen I got during this week. I talked about it on my Instagram account, but I guess maybe many of you don't follow it, so you may not have seen. I got some time in the end of the afternoon and I went to the flea market. Yes, we have the flea market here in Lisbon at Tuesdays and Saturdays. And it lasts from very early in the morning, maybe sometimes from 7 or 8 a.m. until quite soon, maybe around 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. they are starting to take things down, and usually they do it quite fast. But I had some time, I went there. I showed you on the Instagram also some photos of jacaranda, which is a pen, which is not a pen, which is a tree from Lisbon. Not from Lisbon, sorry. It is a tree. As far as I know, it's from Brazil, or at least it's from South America, but it came to Portugal from Brazil, and I think it is quite common here because there are very straight bounds between Portugal and Brazil. Brazil used to be a colony of Portugal since the year 1500, and then they went independent in the 19th century. So, but we have some influences, and we got from there some trees and animals and stuff. And so these trees very common. It is jacaranda, and it is maybe the name of it. The scientific name is Jacaranda mimosifolia. I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly, but it is a very interesting pen. Tree, not pen, and it has some purple flowers, and it is beautiful because there are streets that are all purple. Imagine like the Japanese streets with the cherry blossom. It's like that, but with a bigger flower and purple. If I remember to do it when I'm editing the video, I'll try to include here the photo. So I went there are jacarandas, and I was pleased to take a walk, and I went after work, so they were closing everything down. But there was still maybe 3 sellers on the old flea market, and one of them had 2 pens. He had a Parker 45, the ones that are made of all plastic, and it was a very beautiful color, like a teal color, but the pen was damaged. So it has the plastic shrunk on the section. It was very ugly, so I didn't buy it. And he also had this one, and I had to buy it just because I was so excited to go there. And why was I excited? Because I usually go to flea market very frequently. Flea market is around 20 minutes walking from me, or maybe 15, and I went there for the first time since the beginning of the pandemic. And because I don't go there every week, maybe there was almost 1 year and a half that I didn't went to the flea market, because we had the confinement, and the flea market was cancelled for over a year. So I didn't went there for a long time, and I saw a pen, and I was so happy that I needed to buy it. So what is this pen? I don't know. It has no branding at all anywhere. But as far as I understood, it had no... It's interesting because it has some loss of plating on the nib, it has some corrosion on the nib, but it had no residues of ink inside. So it is interesting. I bought it. The color of the cap doesn't really match the color of the barrel. It's a little bit different. And it cost me €2, so I had to bring it. It has this interesting shape. It is a piston filler, so as I told you, no engravings. It has a big ink window, and it has this steel nib, which says it is 14K gold plated. The gold plating is only there on the bottom, and there is some corrosion marks there over the 14 and there on the carat. So, and it has this kind of nib that is just the steel of the nib that is bent in a different way to make the tipping, and it makes like a very flat surface there. But it works, but it has no really iridium or something, some harder material on the tip. It's just folded steel, and this is the unknown flea market pen. Is it nice? Yes, it is fun, and I'm very happy because this is my first pen from the flea market after lockdown. And sometimes we find this interesting stuff. Is this worth anything? Maybe not. It cost me €2. Is it interesting to bring such an interesting pen to life? Yes, for me it is interesting because I love bringing some pens to life. Otherwise, maybe it would be there forgotten forever. I'm not sure. I like it. Now, the next topic is, and we'll use the Kaggle again. The next topic is the uncommon pen of the day. And the uncommon pen of the day is a pen that is, as far as I know, is already from the... I think it is after the year 2000, or at least from the end of the 1990s. And it is the Rotring Esprit. And let me bring the pen here. It is an interesting pen, and I'll say it is uncommon. It's not a rare pen or anything, but it is interesting because it is a telescopic pen. It is I have a review of it, I will link it below. It's not made anymore, even more because Rotring is not anymore a fountain pen brand. It has the red ring from Rotring, it has Rotring written there, and it is made of metal, aluminium, and it is nice because it is a telescopic pen. It is a short pen. Let me have it here, and let me put, it's not a review, but a Parker Centennial do Fold on the side, and also a Kaweco Sport. It's just a little bit longer than a Kaweco Sport. But when you pull the cap, you have to push it, and it becomes the size of almost the size of a Parker Centennial do Fold, like this, capped. And then you pull it even a little bit more, and you have the nib. It has this kind of very typical Rotring nib. This is a fine nib with this section that has these kind of waves to help you gripping the pen. And so the small pen, let me bring the dual fold again. This small pen becomes a full-sized pen, not as big as the dual fold, but it is a nice pen. And so I think the telescopic pens are fun stuff. They are not that common. They are not also totally uncommon, but it does not post. But it becomes a full size. But you can say, okay, but because of that we could have a posting pen and short also. Okay, but it's just another option that makers did. And you unscrew it, and because it has the telescopic way of being used, it goes down, and you only have room left for the cartridge. You cannot put a converter inside because it will not fit because let me check, it goes there. So when you would put it like this, you wouldn't have room for a converter. So it is a cartridge only pen, but it is a fun one because it is short, that it is telescopic, and it will become longer. So this is the unusual pen of the day that I wanted to show you. Maybe it is not a known, but it is an interesting piece, and it may be found in some places quite inexpensive because it's not an outstanding pen. It's not shiny and very interactive. It's just a simple, typical rotring pen. Well engineered, but that's it. Fun stuff is that there is this one. I did not review this one. I will review someday and I'll make a comparison. And what is this? It has a Parker clip, and yes, it is a Parker pen. At some point, the Parker and Rotring, they belong to the same company, and they still belong to the same mother company, and so the writing division of Rotring passed to Parker or Waterman. In this case, it came to Parker. So Parker made the Parker Esprit. They didn't even change the name, but they made a similar pen. However, they had the care to change several stuff. They removed the red ring because it's no longer Rotring. They changed the clip for the arrow clip of Parker. They changed... This is kind of impressive because they changed a lot. They kept the concept the same size, but they changed some stuff. Here you have these little ridges to help you hold the pen and not this kind of wavy thing. And the nib is different because this, and we have to say that are some brands, let me go there a little bit, there are some brands, many of those brands I don't know them that well to be able to say this for sure, but there are some brands that have their typical nibs, let's say it like that. Kaweco has this number 5 steel nib from Kaweco, which is very common, and it is in many of their pens, in the all-rounder, in the special, in the sport, in the Lilliput, in the student. So this nib is very common. It's like the standard nib of the brand. And for other pens, it's also true. You will find this kind of nib in many Rotring pens with slight engraving variation, but it is the same nib. And Parker didn't have this same nib, but because they have the same brand, they could have made the same nib, but they didn't. They went for a slightly smaller nib, which is, guess what? The standard Parker nib, which is look at this converter, this feed, this is the Jotter nib. And that is the nib that is on the Reflex, the Jotter, the Vector, the new Parker 51, lots of pens. Lamy, for example, has the nib that has on the ABC, the logo, the Linea, the CP1, the Dialogue 3, the Safari All-Star, LX, Vista, and so on. So there are standard nibs for each brand, and I would say this is the most common nib for a Parker. So they went for the Parker Jotter nib, and they have only a cartridge only system, and they made something that is quite interesting, in my opinion. I don't know if it was worth all the effort, but in a way it made sense. Parker never used the international sized cartridge. If they wanted, oops, I hit the camera and microphone. If they wanted, they could have made this pen with the international. I don't have a cartridge inside, but believe me, it is a short Parker cartridge. They have here the international sized cartridge on the Rotring. But Parker never used the Rotring size or the international size. They always used the Parker proprietary system, and they had only long cartridges. And because of this pen that would not fit a long cartridge, they made a short cartridge that was made for this pen. They could have kept the same fitting system, but they decided to go with their own system. And in a way, I think that is fun, because they remained coherent with their own history. But because of that, they needed to make they had the need to make small or short Parker cartridges that I showed you before. I don't have any around here now, but I showed you before. And they made these cartridges for this pen specifically. Of course, they could also fit on some other Parker, like these. You can fit two of them, like you fit two short International in a long-barreled pen. But because they made this nib for this pen, they made a variation that I don't have any. I would like to have it, but they are very expensive now. Which is the Parker dual fold in a size they call the Me. You have the dual fold in the Centennial size, which is the largest size. You have it on the International size, which is smaller, slightly shorter, slightly thinner. I made a video about telling two dual folds apart, and they also made one short pen, which has the same nib and section as the International, but it is a much smaller pen, which is the Me, that takes the short cartridges. So they used the same model as Rotring for making this pen. They changed everything into a Parker, the type pen, and then because of that they created, they had the chance to create a short barreled Parker dual fold because they had all the components they need. So it's an interesting thing to show. So this was my uncommon pen of the day, and let's go for the final topics of this video. And so one of the two topics that I have for today was brought to me. Topic number 1. Buying, let's put it easily, cheap or expensive? This is just a shorter form of the question. I had a comment on I think it was on last Friday night Pen Thoughts, of a viewer that he was telling about it was not a question for me, it is a question for himself and for everybody else, that should we, and I talked about putting pens from their country. I said it would not be fair always, but sometimes it makes sense. Let's put it this way. Does it make sense, for example, to get to buy inexpensive or a lot of cheaper Chinese pens, like this pen BBS, which is very beautiful and it writes well, or this Kaigaloo? It's a pen BBS 308. This is a Kaigaloo 356. So should you use the money to buy inexpensive, but you can get a lot of different pens with very nice materials? Or you should, instead of do this, save your money, and instead of having maybe 10 of inexpensive Chinese, but the question is not really Chinese, or let's call it lower end pens, or just to go and buy more expensive and a pen for a more reputable brand, like this is a Sailor 1911 large, which is a beautiful pen. So should we buy many pens inexpensive and not top of the range? Sorry, I record my videos with my cell phone and I got an urgent call, so I needed to answer and I interrupted my thoughts. So what I was telling is, I was talking about what should we do? Buy cheap pens from not top manufacturers, or should we keep the money of that several less expensive pens and to buy a more expensive one? And the same thing is, I was talking about these Kaigaloo and the pen BBS, but I can talk about, for example, the Parker Duofold, or just buy a couple of these Jinhao Centennials, because you can buy lots of them without reaching the money of that. And or even this Kaigaloo 316. What about the writing experience? Is this that bad? No, it's not. So what really should we choose? Should we save the money of several more inexpensive pens and buy an expensive one, or should we just buy them because we like them? So this is really a good question. I would say that it depends on you. If you want really to have a really top of the range pen, you can, and for that you have to save money. And if you buy lots of those, you eventually reach the money of this one. If you're talking about the value of the pen, this pen will, I think, always be worth more in terms of money if you want to resell them than any of these. So it will be more intelligent to spend money in this one. But I don't think that this pen in a few years will cost more than it costs now. So does it really make sense? I'm not sure. Or why we should buy one pen like this and not buy one pen that is made to your own specifications and it is a unique piece? Why not? And this can be more expensive than that one, so how do you choose it? I have to say that I really think it depends on you. If you can save the money for a very good pen, you may have what you are paying for. For example, my Sailor King of pen is an outstanding pen, but is that really necessary? That is a question. This Santini is a wonderful pen, but is that necessary to get such? And this is not that expensive. Actually, this is not a very expensive pen. So what should we do? Am I happy with this one? Yes, I am. So why not? But if we try to value history, maybe we think that a Sailor is more interesting, because this pen is not the pen itself, it's not the brand itself, but it is also what all that means, all the craftsmanship, all the history behind this one. But it's kind of hard to say. It's like, if you like Lamy Safari, let's not going for the Chinese market versus the well-known Western brands. Let's not go there, because in that sense we could also talk about some older Japanese pens and European pens or American pens. Let's not talk about that. But let's just think about cheap and inexpensive pen. Should I buy several Lamy Safari, or should I buy a Lamy 2000? Save that money and buy a Lamy Safari than having many of the other ones. I think it depends on you. Do you enjoy to have lots of pens? If you do, go for them. If you like this finish a lot, go for it. And if you can afford it, of course. If you prefer to save the money for the higher end one, do that. I don't think we need to choose what should we do. In terms of real value, this pen is worth more than that. But if both are good enough for you to write with them, if you enjoy them, if this Jinhao is good enough, you don't need a Parker Duofold. So why should you save the money for that? And if you like to have all the variety of the finishes, not this one, all the variety of the finishes of nice Chinese pens, why not? And in the end, you can always give some pens away, or keep them, or do whatever you want. So when people say you buy so many Chinese pens, then they will not worth anything in the future. Okay, but I cannot expect any of my pens to be worth more. I really buy what I enjoy, and I buy what I enjoy because fortunately I can afford to buy some pens, but if I couldn't, I would have to choose. Maybe I would go for higher end pens, maybe, and I did that for a while until I discovered Chinese pens and I went for them also. So if now I had to choose, I'm not sure. If I had to choose, I would stick with my pens, that the ones that I like. I would sell a lot and I would keep just the ones that I like the most. But if I can choose to buy or to save money, I think I really like to do both. I like to have my Parker Centennial Dufold, which is quite expensive. But if you ask me, do you find place for that Kaigaloo? Yes. Do I find place for this one? Yes. It is the same writing experience as the Parker. No, not the same. The nib is quite different. But when I'm going for some holidays and when I need to leave these at the hotel or take the pen with me, I prefer to take a pen that gives me quite good writing experience, the same kind of design as the Parker Dufold, but it's not a Parker Dufold. If I lose it, I will lose 15 to 20 euros and not 400 or 500 euros. So that makes a difference for me. And I cannot say. What I can say really is do what you prefer. For example, I bought this one, very inexpensive, 2 euros. And why? Just because I could. This is not showing off. It's really, if you can choose what gives more pleasure to you. That is the way things make sense, in my opinion. Now, let's go for the last topic. That is, let me write it first, then I have to zoom out a little bit. It is topic number 2, and it is pen storage. And now I'll have to zoom out. What I wanted to tell you is more about this bag that I showed you before in some shopping that I made here in Lisbon. Is this Sense bag. This is a bag it is a case for art supplies, for markers, and it is made of very sturdy material. It has this Velcro opening, which may not be completely reliable to hold the weight of the pens, and then you have all these. The only way I have to show it, it's putting this way, and you have all these slots for pen. And I have to say a couple of things. One thing that I found it's quite nice is that the pens like these never touch each other. Although the sleeve doesn't go all the way up, the pens don't really touch the way that when it's closed they are good, so they will not scratch. This bag is quite inexpensive for around 30 euros, and it holds 72 bags. And I'm really happy with this, because this is a way I can put 72 pens here, I can close it, and it's not that big, and I can put it in my bookcase and have a way of holding many pens. What I would like to know is how you prefer to store your pens. Some people have some fancy cabinets with the pens, and I understand that, I like that, but actually that is a problem it may be a problem, because I really prefer to spend more money in pens and less money in nice pen storage. This is a way I can store lots of pens without spending too much money. So, what are your thoughts about it? How do you prefer to store your pens? I like these a lot. I'm not sponsored by them in any way. I bought this one with my own money. I'm just saying that I'm very happy, very, very happy with this storage solution, because it is better than most of my little wooden things with the drawers, because they take up a lot more space than this, and this is really nice. It's just not good to use with this burlap background because it becomes all full of these little fibers, but otherwise this is a beautiful, nice bag. And this is a way I can store many pens. I have already 2 of them, and I think I will go to the third one, because this is a really nice way of keeping all the stuff together. Not all the stuff, but a part of it. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about this. When I made that unboxing video, not unboxing, when I showed you these, I thought of putting some pieces of kind of rubberized thing to protect pens from touching each other, but they don't touch, so it works fine. I really like it. And this middle part, it can come off. It is Velcro, but I don't think there is a need to that. The only thing, as I was telling you, because with 72 pens this can be very heavy, I would not trust to hold it like this, because the Velcro there may open, and also the pens are a little bit exposed there. They will not fall because this is long enough, which is nice, but I think it's also a very good thing, because pens like celluloid pens that need to let's call it breathe, they are not completely closed inside these. They have room for some air to come in and to come out. So that is also a very nice thing. So this is a great way, even if you have to take some pens to somewhere to show someone, you can put these inside the backpack and take it with you very, very easily. And again, you can put inside big pens such as the Moonman M1000, the Sailor King of Pen, it fits. Also the Montblanc 149. I can't only fit the little fat pens like that Platinum, what is it called? The Platinum Glamour, or the Zoom, the Tombow Zoom pen, which are those short and very fat, or my William Shakur pen because it's too fat, or even the I'm forgetting the name, the Rotring Core. But I can even fit the big cap of a Lamy Safari like this, with the clip being inside the pouch, so the clip is not outside the sleeve and it's not touching other pens. So this is a nice, interesting thing. Please tell me what you think about pen storage, and if you like to store lots of pens in the same place to have more room to do that. So this is all I have to show you. Let me put these like this to be easier to say goodbye. I have to thank you all for watching. I'll be waiting for your comments, for your ideas, for everything, and I hope to meet you soon here on this video again one of these days. So I hope you enjoyed. Have a nice weekend. Bye.